Hello student, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Nimisha Jadon from School of Studies Environmental Chemistry, Jivaji University, Gwalior. Today we are going to discuss about the wastewater treatment technology second part, which comes under the paper of environmental analysis. The major learning objective of this module including the study about the advanced or the tertiary treatment technology, which includes the removal of suspended or the dissolved solids by using various kinds of tertiary treatment process like reverse osmosis, electrodialysis, ion exchange and oxidation ponds. First of all, we have discussed about the advanced wastewater treatment technology. The effluent from the a typical secondary treatment plant is still contain some amount of suspended solid which lies in the range of 20 to 40 milligram per liter, and the small amount of BOD in between the range of 20 to 40 milligram per liter, which may be objectionable in some stream, like it is objectionable for the industrial purposes when the water is used for the industrial purposes, and it is also objectionable when we are using this water for the drinking purposes, so that it affects the water quality as well as the aquatic life. The advanced treatment process is generally considered as an expensive one, and they are particularly used for the when we want to prepare a water suitable for the drinking purposes as well as for the industrial uses. It also increased emphasis on the recovery of valuable byproducts from the industrial wastewater, like the recovery of various types of metals like copper, zinc, lead, etc. The major objective of advanced wastewater treatment is the removal of suspended solid, then the BOD, next the plant nutrients, then the dissolved solids and the toxic substances. The first process of advanced wastewater treatment is the removal of suspended solids. The removal of suspended solids in the advanced treatment implies the removal of those materials that have been carried over from a secondary settler. Of the several methods proposed, the two methods most commonly utilized in this application are microstaining and the chemical coagulation, followed by settling and mixed media filtration. Here is the picture of microstaining, where we have seen that the effluent enter into the chamber where the wash water continue wash the micro particles, suspended solids into the chamber, and the effluent is collected from the outside of the chamber. The number one process is microstaining. Microstaining utilizes a rotating drum type filter to screen suspended solids. The filtering media consists of a finely woven stainless steel fabric with a mesh size of 23 to 35 micron. The fabric is mounted on the periphery of the drum, and the water is allowed to pass from the inside to the outside. Microstainers can handle high flow rates of effluents but cannot handle fluctuations in solid content and the shock loads. Furthermore, the removal of suspended solids depends on their filtrability characteristics. Colloidal suspensions usually pass through the unit unhindered. The second process of removal of suspended solid is coagulation. Coagulation is the most frequently and most acceptable process for the removal of suspended solid as method coagulation, in which the certain chemicals are rapidly dispersed in the wastewater to change the characteristics of the suspended particles so that they coalesce and form flocks which sink rapidly. Coagulation is employed to improve or make possible the removal of negatively charged colloidal suspensions which do not normally settle out and cannot be removed by conventional physical treatment. The most widely used coagulants for wastewater treatment are aluminum and iron salts, such as aluminum sulfate, it is also known as alum, ferric sulfate and ferric chloride. At high alkaline pH, prevalent in the water of these salt produce the insoluble aluminum hydroxide or ferric hydroxide flux. The reaction is given below, that the aluminum sulfate reacts with the water and produces the precipitate of aluminum hydroxide, and similarly it generates hydrogen sulfate. When the hydrogen sulfate reacts with the calcium bicarbonate present in the water, then it will produce the insoluble calcium sulfate and the carbonate ion. And these carbonate ion further divided into the carbon dioxide and the water, which both are the water and the carbon dioxide is the gas, so that by the process of coagulation, byproducts are non-toxic and whole suspended particles are removed by using the coagulation. The another one example is that overall reaction of this process is depicted here, as the aluminum sulfate reacts with the calcium bicarbonate and produces the precipitate of aluminum hydroxide, calcium sulfate, and release the gas of carbon dioxide. As they form and grow, the aluminum hydroxide flux entrap the solid particle. The precipitate is then flocculated to produce large dense settlable solids. Sometimes with very low concentration of colloidal matter, floc formation is difficult. Therefore, coagulant adds like polyelectrolytes are added. After the flocs are formed, the solution is led to settling tank where the flocs are allowed to settle. Unsettlable particles carried out using the beds of porous media such as sand or coal. The current trends is the use of mixed media filter graded coarse to fine in the direction of water flow. The two types of filter is the single layer filter or the mixed media filter is used to clean water of the suspended particles. The mixed media filter consists of a fine garnet in the bottom layer, silica sand in the middle layer, and the coarser coal in the top layer. Now the second process is the removal of dissolved solid. The dissolved solids are of both type, like organic and the inorganic type. The most common method used for the removal of soluble organics from the wastewater is adsorption on activated carbon. Solvent extraction is also used to recover certain organic chemicals like phenol and amines from the industrial wastewater. A number of methods have been investigated for the removal of inorganic constituents from wastewater. Three methods which are finding wide applications in advanced waste treatment are ion exchange, electrodialysis, and the reverse osmosis. The next advanced technique that we are going to discuss is the adsorption on activated carbon. The adsorption is the process when the water enters at the bed which is prepared by the activated carbon. Actually, activated carbon having a large surface area, providing a large surface area for the wastewater, so that the particles, suspended particle solids, are adsorbed at the surface of this activated carbon. So that's why this process is known as adsorption. The maximum suspended solid could be removed by using this technique, activated carbon technique. In this technique, we are using the series of column of which are filled with the activated carbon, and when we are transferring water from one to second column, so that the water is totally free from the any kind of suspended solid. Here in the series operation, the first column is removed from the service when the bed is exhausted, and the fresh column is placed at the end of the series. The second column is then become the lead column, and it is now working as a active column for the adsorption process. In the parallel operation, the batch become saturated simultaneously and are replaced by a fresh batch. The activated carbon in this process is again regenerated when we washed out the this column by any distilled water or by the any other solution which can remove the such kind of suspended solid, or either this columns are used and through process so that we can replace it by the new one activated carbon column. And because we are using this process very frequently, particularly in the treatment of the drinking water, because the activated carbon is not having a very much high amount, and they are very effective for removing the suspended particles. After the bat becomes saturated, it is necessary to regenerate it for reuse. In thermal regeneration, the activated carbon is dewatered and then passed through a multiple hearth furnace. The regenerated carbon is then water quenched and stored for return to the treatment system. The solvents such as methanol, acetone and benzene dissolve the organic matter from the adsorbent, and the solvent is then removed by stream solvent regeneration process. Here we have seen the picture of fixed bed in series or parallel of activated carbon to remove the dissolved suspended solids, and again the second is the expanded beds in series and expanded beds in parallel. All the beds of activated carbon used to remove the dissolved suspended solid into the water sample. The next picture shows the solvent regeneration by the activated carbon. Here in this picture we have seen that the bed of spent adsorbent in a one chamber where the steam and solvent passes through this bed. Then the recovered solvent is passes through the another chamber which is condensed and collected and remove the organics from that particular chamber, and this solvent is again recycled by the process of recondensation. So the solvent is regenerated from the waste solvent by the activated carbon process. The next process is known as solvent extraction. It is applied to recover phenolic materials from the waste waters of refineries and coke plants. For solvent extraction, solvents such as benzene, chloroform has been used for the recovery of the metals and the other phenolic compounds. The next important procedure of advanced treatment is known as ion exchange. The ion exchange has been used extensively to remove hardness and iron and manganese salt from the drinking water supply. It has also been used to selectively remove specific impurities and to recover valuable trace metals like chromium, copper, lead, cadmium and nickel from industrial waste discharges. The process takes advantages of the ability of certain natural and synthetic materials to exchange one of their ions with another contained in the water passing through them. In the water softening process, the hardness producing elements such as calcium and magnesium are replaced by sodium ion. A cation resin operating on the sodium cycle is normally used. The typical exchange reaction is represented here. As we have seen, the resin is filled with the sodium ion which is react with the salts of chloride, sulfate and bicarbonate salts of calcium and magnesium. Then the resin exchange sodium from the magnesium and calcium, and these sodium salts are very much soft, comes under the soft chemicals when hard water is converted into the soft water by the resin process, where R represents the solid phase of the exchange resin. When the exchanger is saturated, it has to be regenerated to allow reuse of the expensive resins. Regeneration can be achieved using sodium chloride solution, which removes the calcium and magnesium. Resin to its original condition is known as earth. Negative magnesium calcium attached to the resin react with the NaCl, and again we can regenerate the resin material, and the magnesium and calcium ion removed by the NaCl solution. So this regeneration, the bed of the resin continuously regenerated and reused for the further softening process of water. The demineralization of wastewater is achieved in two steps, the cation and the anion exchange step. The positive ions such as calcium, sodium or magnesium are removed in the cation exchanger using a hydrogen cycle. A typical exchange reaction is depicted here, as here we have seen that the hydrogenated resin exchange the ion calcium, magnesium and sodium and convert the material into the acid and the carbonates. So all the ions are removed by using this cation exchanger. In the anion exchange step, the negative ions such as chlorine, sulfate or carbonate are removed and demineralized water is produced. Here in this reaction we have seen that the ROH resin react with the HCl, H2SO4 and hydrogen and the bicarbonate ion, and it exchanges the hydrogen ion from these ion and demineralize the water, and this demineralization of process is continued till the whole water will be demineralized by using the resin. The regeneration is done by treating the cation exchanger with a strong acid and the anion exchanger with caustic soda. Here reaction we have seen the embedded resins of high amount of salts of calcium, magnesium, sodium or chloride, sulfate and carbonate again regenerated by using the concentrated acid or the NaOH solution, so that we can regenerate the surface of the resin originally, and these ions are removed in the solution. The next advanced process is known as reverse osmosis. In the reverse osmosis process, demineralized water is produced by forcing water through semi-permeable membranes at high pressure. In ordinary osmosis, if a vessel is divided by a semi-permeable membrane, one that is permeable to water but not to dissolve material, and one compartment is filled with water and the other with the concentrated salt solution, water diffuses through the membrane towards the compartment containing salt solution until the difference in water level on the two sides of the membranes creates a sufficient pressure to counteract the original water flow. Here in this picture, the process of reverse osmosis is cleared by this diagram. In the first picture, we have seen that the membrane is placed out between the two chambers. The one chamber is filled with water and the another chamber is filled with sodium chloride solution, which is also known as brine solution. The water is less concentrated, so the impurities from the water is transported through the membrane into the brine solution, which this process is known as osmosis. The osmosis is the process when the ions are migrate from the lower concentration to the higher concentrated solution. But in case of reverse osmosis, the process is totally reversed and the ions are transferred through the membrane, when we applied the pressure, the ions are migrated from the brine solution, or we can say the wastewater, through the deionized water. So by the process of reverse osmosis, we can get a finely deionized water, this water is totally free from any kind of ion, because the between layer of membrane absorbs almost all kinds of ions present in the water. The major application of reverse osmosis included: it is frequently used in the industry, it is used to desalting seawater for the drink and convert it into a drinking purpose water, then separation of toxic ions from the plastic waste, then it is also used as a concentration of the radioactive waste, and for the removal of organics from the vegetable and the animal waste. The major drawbacks of using this method is the fouling of membranes. The membranes having a very high cost, and they are very much stagnate, or give the fouling smell when they are saturated with such kind of ion, and it is replaced by the other membrane. Then second drawback is that the pre-treatment is necessary to remove the large molecule before the reverse osmosis treatment to minimize the membrane fouling. The next advanced treatment process is the electrodialysis. It employs for removal of solute from the solution rather than the removal of the solvent. In this process, use is made of selective permeable membranes and an electrical potential difference to extract ions from solution. A simple electrodialysis cell in which wastewater may be deionized. Two types of membranes, anionic and cationic, are arranged alternatively to form many compartments between the electrodes placed at the two ends. When voltage is applied across the cell containing mineralized water, the anion migrates to the positive electrode and the cations migrates to the negative electrodes. This causes solution in alternate compartments to become more concentrated, while that is the remaining becomes more diluted. The electric power requirement is proportional to the number of ions removed from the water. Now there are some disadvantages of using the electrodialysis process, which includes that the organic molecules are not removed and can collect on and clog the membranes. It still leaves concentrated wastewater, which is also known as brine, to be disposed of. So that the disposal of the wastewater is a main problem, and the clogging of membrane is a main problem of the electrodialysis. And also it does not require any chemical additive and has low energy requirements. So these are the major disadvantages of using electrodialysis process. This figure discuss about the process of electrodialysis. Here you have seen that there we have applied two electrodes. The one is positive, that is anode, and one is cathode, that is negative electrode. In between, various fine membranes are placed in between the chamber, so that they are preparing a small chamber in a big kind of chamber. When we applied the potential, then the ions are migrated and deposited on the opposite sides of electrode, and they are passing from the intermediate membrane, so that all the ions are trapped out in the membrane, and the clear water is passed out and collected as a deionized water. And after applying this electrodialysis process, the brine is also collected. It is a concentrated part of wastewater which contain a high amount of dissolved ions. So it is collected and disposed of for the further process. Now the next method is for the removal of nitrogen from the wastewater. All forms of nitrogen in wastewater effluents are potentially harmful. Plants can utilize efficiency at the pH value of 11.5 and 10.5 are about 86% and 80% respectively. The process of nitrification and denitrification is used for the removal of nitrogen from the wastewater. This process is the modification of the activated sludge process. In nitrification, the waste is thoroughly treated in the aeration chamber. This usually involves longer detention times than those for the conventional activated sludge process. The F by M ratio are maintained around 0.3. During nitrification, bacteria such as Nitrosomonas and the Nitrobacter catabolize ammonia to nitrite and nitrates. The organisms require inorganic carbon for synthesis and they are very sensitive to pH. The optimum pH for nitrification is 8.4. About 90% of the optimum rate can be achieved. The nitrous oxide and nitrogen dioxide forms are removed from the system by the process of denitrification. It is an anaerobic process in which heterotrophic bacteria found in activated sludge reduces nitrous oxide ion and nitrous oxide to nitrogen gas. These organisms require an organic carbon source for cell growth. The organisms metabolize methanol according to the following reaction. The ammonia converted by the Nitrosomonas into the form of nitrite and again nitrite convert into the nitrate by the bacteria of Nitrobacter. In this secondary treatment process after the activated sludge process, we have seen in this picture the influent is when enter into the activated sludge process, then all the organics are converted into the carbon dioxide and the water. But there are some amount of nitrogenous compound still remain in the water, and after the settling tank the water again transferred to the second aeration tank, where the ammonical compounds are converted by the microorganism like Pseudomonas and the other nitrogenous microorganism. They convert the ammonia into nitrite, and nitrite is the unstable form of nitrogen. Then again the nitrite is again convert into the nitrate. Then this after this the suspended solids again water is transferred to the settling tank, where the suspended particles is settled down, and finally the water is transferred to the another tank which is known as the anaerobic tank, where the anaerobic bacteria play a very important role, and in this tank methanol is also added. So it stimulates the process of anaerobic digestion of the wastewater, and in this tank the process is take place of is that a denitrification process, where the whole nitrate is converted into the nitrogen gas. So the nitrogen is removed in the atmosphere and it is non-hazardous to any human being as well as for the atmosphere. Then again the water is transferred to the settling tank, where the suspended solid is settled down and the effluent is passed to the next treatment tank, where whole nitrogen present in any forms of any form like nitrate, nitrogen and ammonia, it is removed from the wastewater and water is transferred to the further treatment process. The next process is the biological phosphorus removal. Some bacteria have the ability to take up phosphorus in excess of their immediate nutritional requirement. The polyphosphates can then be removed from the system. The Braden-4 process 16 and the Thaw-Strip process 17 are two of the biological processes developed for the removal of phosphorus from the wastewater stream. Now the last advanced treatment process is known as advanced biological system. These are the new biological methods that are being investigated for wastewater treatment. The use of shallow oxidation ponds or lagoons have proved very effective for the treatment of domestic wastewater. These ponds are classified into their three forms, mainly aerobic ponds, facultative ponds, or anaerobic ponds. In aerobic ponds, wastewater containing organic impurities are purified by the action of aerobic bacteria and algae. Oxygen is supplied by natural diffusion across the pond surface and by algal photosynthesis. These are shallow ponds having the depth of 0.3 meter or less and designed to maximize the growth of algae. Aerobic conditions are maintained throughout the depth of the pond for all the time. Facultative ponds. This is the most frequently encountered type of ponds. These ponds have an aerobic upper zone and the anaerobic lower zone, and the operation of the typical facultative pond is achieved. The organic waste enter at the top end of the pond where the suspended solids settle to the bottom. So facultative ponds are very much efficient to remove the biological material from the wastewater treatment because they are having the both kind of conditions simultaneously. The third one is the anaerobic pond, which removes the impurity which are digested in the anaerobic condition like sulfur and nitrogenous compound. These compounds are degraded in absence of oxygen so that the water is purified and suspended solids are settled down at the bottom of the pond. So at the end of this module, we have learned more about the various advanced treatment technology which are used for the removal of suspended and dissolved solids from the wastewater, and it is remove the organics about the 80% of the waste from the wastewater. These advanced technique including the reverse osmosis, electrodialysis, ion exchange, and the advanced oxidation pond. So we in this module we have learned the functioning of all type of advanced treatment technologies. Thank you so much.